Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Craig Olson to the podium.
Hello, Lewiston, Auburn. Hello, Democrats. My name is Craig Olson. I'm running for Congress, and I will beat Bruce Poliquin. And let me tell you why. As I look out onto this convention floor, I am inspired by the women and the men who give their time to their communities, to their party, while balancing the demands of family and jobs. When things get tough, when things aren't going well, you step up. It's a balance we all struggle with, a balance made harder by the policies of the Republican Party and those like Mr. Poliquin who see people as numbers on a spreadsheet to balance the budget. I grew up on a dairy farm. I've worked since I was old enough to hold a milk pail feeding calves, since I could reach the clutch and brakes of a Farm All-C tractor. I was the first in my family to go to college. I put myself through college, waiting tables, working summers in a resort area, and cleaning hotel rooms during the day. But no one does it alone. I, like so many, benefited from student loans, work-study, and Pell Grants. With that degree that I earned in criminal justice, I worked as an investigator for the Public Defender's Office. I saw how poverty and limited access to health and mental health care can begin a downward spiral for individuals and their families overnight. At the same time, in the early 1990s, healthcare was still affordable. I shifted my focus from criminal justice system to something that had fascinated me even more, the study and use of history in exploring today's challenges. I went on to earn a master's degree in history museum studies and spent a decade leading museums and nonprofits in the Midwest and Maine. Maine. I came to Maine in a snowstorm in February of 2001 to interview for their position of COO of a foundation in Lincolnville. The minute I set foot on the Maine coast, I knew I was home. I took the job, and in June, my wife Melissa and I and our 3 daughters rented a house in Searsport. Our daughters were 4 years old, 2 years old, and 1 month. We have never looked back. It didn't take us very long to find a permanent home in Islesboro, and just 4 days before Christmas, we moved in. Now, 2 of those daughters are in college. The youngest is a junior in high school, and then they're following their passions. And I'm sorry you won't get a chance to meet them tonight. My eldest daughter, Eva, just returned from a year abroad in Japan. She and my wife, Melissa, are right on their way now to pick up my middle daughter, Olivia, who is finishing her finals in college and has to be out of her dorm by tomorrow morning. So they can all come back to Maine. For my youngest daughter, Isabel's choral concert tomorrow, the All-State Choral Concert in Orono at 2 p.m. Tell your friends. Now, history and books have always been passions of mine. In 2002, I learned the craft of bookbinding and repair and opened my own bindery. By 2004, I had opened a used and rare bookstore. With the internet, I was able to build that business and support our family for 13 years. During that time, we dove deep into our community. I spent 8 years on the planning board, 16 years chairing the Islesboro Democratic Committee, 3 years as an elected member of our Board of Selectmen, and serving 1 year as chair. Being self-employed, our family always struggled with affordable health insurance. For many years, we had $5,000 and $10,000 deductibles. There was a period our income was so low that we were covered by Maine Care. And you know what? Maine Care works. In 2004, we signed up and were covered through the Affordable Care Act. We had a $5,000 deductible, but we were so happy to have that coverage. We were healthy. We had few health care needs. Then in June of 2005, I was diagnosed with skin cancer. We caught it in time. I have a clean bill of health. The bill for surgery, $2,300. Well, no problem. We thought we could pay it down over time. Then our furnace died. And then we needed to be replaced. Then we got behind on our fuel oil. Once that debt ball started rolling, we couldn't stop it. Finally, we were at a point where we thought we might lose our house and the life that we had built, but we were lucky. In our community, there's a community fund, a fund that helps with everything from fuel oil bills to school scholarships to medical bills. We donated to the fund when we could. My wife had sat on the board. Now we were asking for help to pay some of our bills. The community fund paid them all. We were lucky, but enough was enough. A year later, the town of Islesboro needed a transfer station attendant. I applied. I was hired. Now I work 4 10-hour days. Why? Predictable income was one factor. Health insurance was the main reason. Fast forward a bit. Last Memorial Day weekend, my wife started seeing bright, fuzzy light in her right eye. We went to Belfast to have that eye checked. She had bleeding behind her eye. They sent her to an ophthalmologist in Bangor immediately. If she hadn't had the treatment, a shot in her eye, she would have lost vision in that eye. 2 weeks after the shot, we got the bill, $4,300. Let me repeat that. $4,300 for a shot to save my wife's eyesight. A year earlier, we could not have been able to pay that bill. Back at square one. But now I was on town insurance, $174 out of pocket. When Bruce Poliquin stood up once, not twice, but 3 times to eviscerate the Affordable Care Act, my blood boiled. When Bruce Poliquin voted for balancing his budget on the backs of our less fortunate while handing out tax breaks to corporations and increased military spending, I got even angrier. When Bruce Poliquin refuses to answer for his votes, refuses to explain how he would vote and why, and refuses to meet with his own constituents, I get angrier still. But getting angry isn't the solution. That's why I'm running. I'm running because Bruce Poliquin needs to be retired. The 2nd District deserves a member of Congress with life experience. The 2nd District deserves a member of Congress who has empathy. The 2nd District deserves a member of Congress who puts in 5 days a week in Washington, fighting for Mainers on issues like affordable care access for everyone, jobs, climate change, and a living minimum wage, and rural broadband in every corner of this state. I can beat Bruce Poliquin. I am the average voter in Maine's 2nd Congressional District. I have raised a family in this district. I have built a business in this district. My children were educated in the public schools of this business, and our family has struggled in this district. Bruce Poliquin has done none of these things. In his farewell address, Barack Obama said something that struck with me. He said, if you're tired of arguing with strangers on the internet, try to talk to one in real life. If something needs fixing, lace up your shoes and do some organizing. If you're disappointed by your elected officials, grab a clipboard, get some signatures, and run for office yourself. Show up, dive in, persevere. Sometimes you'll win, sometimes you'll lose. So when Bruce Poliquin voted to gut the Affordable Care Act, I thought back to those words and decided to turn my frustration into motivation. I spoke with friends and neighbors who encouraged me to throw my hat in the ring. I went out and I got those signatures. I raised a little money, not much, but enough to pay for gas and hire a part-time staffer. I traveled the district and met folks who were struggling and shared my disappointment in our current representative. I showed up, I dove in, and now I stand here as a candidate for Congress. If I do win, I promise you this. Number one, I won't forget how tough it is out there for folks working multiple jobs to make ends meet, because I am one. I won't forget the Mainers struggling to pay their medical bills, because I've been there. I won't forget the challenge of putting your kids through college while also working to make Maine a place they want to come back to after graduation, because I'm doing it now. If I don't win this race, I will proudly support whichever candidate takes on Bruce Poliquin. I will work my hardest to make sure that Democrats reclaim this seat. I'll go back to running the Islesboro transfer station, being active in my community, and enjoying watching my 3 daughters grow into strong young women. I've got a great life. I wouldn't change a thing. But now I'm asking you to look at me as your #1 choice this June 12th. Together, we can bring authentic representation to Washington with a congressman who will fight for every one of you and the communities that you call home. Here's to enormous blue wave in November. Thank you very much.